Warning, a lot of my projects and segments will include the use of sharp objects such as X-Acto knives or mini saws, chemicals such as spray paint, airbrush, or hot glue guns, or the use of power tools such as my rotary tool. Please be advised, these are meant for professional use only and is not to be attempted unless supervised by an adult. Thank you and enjoy the show. Hello cadets, welcome to another episode of Lightspeed Jr. I'm your head artist and founder, Keita. Today is a special day. Of course, we're back, but on top of that, we're into the Halloween season, our favorite time of the year here at the studio. And this time I'll start off with something different by working on Emily from The Corpse Bride. Now, I found some wood coffin canvases, cutouts, and I decided, hey, why not? Let's get her sketch down. And so there's my sketch. I cut it out of the paper so I can get all the dimensions right and go from there. I went and took a shot at a previous painting. I figured I could do better. As you know, artists, we are our own worst enemies. Now, I decided to add on some extra, take it a step off, so I started prepping some wooden butterflies I had. So I started sanding and prepping with some gesso or primer so the paint would stick. So as you can see, I'm using my stands here to get them painted. I'm using some 220 grit sandpaper, and of course my trusty Montana 94s always comes in the clutch for you guys. Give them the nice blue, that same blue they used on the butterflies in the movie, and I dust them with just a little bit of white. And there we go again with the other one. That one is like a little bit of a darker blue as opposed to the earlier one, but I went and get back with the white around the edges. I kind of spritz it a bit. See right there, yep. And notice I'm wearing my gloves on this one. Don't see in the picture, but I am wearing my mask and I'm out in my garage. I got plenty of ventilation going. So here I'm going to the canvas back again, and I'm using some tracing paper, some graphite tracing paper. So I'm going to go ahead and use my engraver here and go around all the lines so I can transfer it to the wood. Now mind you, the wood was also sanded and prepped with some gesso so that the paint can stick. And this process takes a while, but you have to make sure you get all the lines because, you know, hate to lose something and lose your place. And as you notice, I taped down everything so it all stays on one place, doesn't shift around and ruin everything. And there we go. So I'll go ahead and take my Sharpie, get a nice outline. And I'm going to outline this part here. And this is a very sharp X-Acto knife, so make sure you have your parents' permission. Now, first, always wear your mask and your gloves, because paint fumes are no joke. And I'm getting my night sky scene going. As you see, I'm using the cup to make the moon and do a little haze bit around it. Sprinkle some stars and get the clouds going. And I used my Cricut cutter this time, and I made a stencil of some butterflies and do multiple layers. And I went back and let's get onto the paint process with my trusty paint markers. And you can see I start with her base blue, her vibrant blue color. It's amazing too how the Land of the Dead in this movie, they're all colorful and vibrant and happy and peppy and jazzy, while the world of living is, drab, and I would not want to live there. So as you can see, I'm using a darker blue to give the shading going, and I'm blending them with the paint markers. Now, as you notice, I use a variety. I use from Montana to Posca to Molotow, and many others just to achieve my goals here as far as the paint and colors go. It takes a bit of time, a little bit of mixing and practicing, but hey, until you get the final result. And here we go with her lip. You know, for a dead person, she has very vibrant, full lips. I've never noticed that till recently. And as you can see, getting her skin, doing the highlights on her skin, make sure everything matches in there, because she is dead, you know, make her too lively, you know. Now, I must say, for a dead, she's a very popular character for a dead person. But hey, this is one of my favorite movies, though, from the Tim Burton series. And I kept that somber, soulful look on her face, because that is her overall expression, especially at the end where she finally lets go and passes on to the other side. And her hair is a very particular blue. Now, this blue I'm using is called petrol blue. I went ahead and gave it a good once-over with one color, and I darkened it with a navy and a black to give it that overall look, because her hair is very stringy, very wavy, and has that particular color to it. And so I'll start on her dress. I start on certain details like the blue outline along the bust line. I wasn't trying to get too bogged down in details. Yeah, I know there are flowers there, but that's a little small. That's very, very fine detail. And of course, her left arm is the bone, so I gotta make sure you get that color just right in there. Started with some white, and I went ahead with a very light gray to give it the shading effect. Now, don't worry about the lines here, because the lines will come in at the very, very end of this. I'll do my outlines just to show off all the details and the lines of her form and her outfit. Her flowers, I'm starting off with, where they're bouquet, I'm starting off with the gray. And I'm going to come around when it dries. I'm going to start with the darker blues, and I'm going to come around with the lighter blues. Again, I'm not trying to get too detailed with this, because it is a bouquet. I'll do the lines later on just to give off its form. And come up with some white in between there. Her dress, yes, it's a white dress, but mind you now, she was buried for so long, she got a little dingy there, so I don't want to make it too white. I don't want to make it too grungy either, but towards the bottom I left it a little darker for shading purposes. And get all the shading down with the gray and on the torso part of her dress. Now the Sharpie paint markers are my go-tos for doing outlines, since they're oil based, and that's my best way of going about to show off the outline of the figure. And here's my fine tip paint marker, so I can get her lines down, get all her details. You even got her ring too, see? And this is where all the magic comes together now. So I get my outlines in, all my details. Now mind you, wait until everything dries up before you decide to go do this, because you'll ruin a good fine tip paint marker and ruin the piece itself. So just patience is a virtue in this type of work. And there go the flowers, doing some little details here and there. And again, I'm doing more butterflies. Now I'm doing an add-on with my trusty hot glue gun. Again, my little saw, so please, parental discretion is advised. Have parental supervision. Now this part here, I decided to cut it to frame out the edge of the coffin so it was flush with it. And my hot glue gun, I went ahead and popped that in there. Let it do its thing, and put the butterflies on its own particular layer. Kind of give it a little, give it a 3D-ish look, make it stand out, Pick some key points on the border in general, and so I can stick it there and get it going. And there she is, Emily, the corpse bride.
I hope you had as much fun watching as I did making it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.